जैसे विशाल देश में दुकानों में, मॉलों में डिफरेंटली एबल्ड को नहीं देखती हूँ। वो अपने घरों में बंद होते हैं, उनके पेरेंट्स उनको बाहर आने ही नहीं देते। पता चला कि वो उतने ही काबिल हो सकते हैं जितने हम, और वो नहीं कर पाते हैं क्योंकि उनको स्कूलिंग नहीं मिलती। आज मुझे कहते हुए बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि हमारे पास कुछ 400 बच्चे हैं जो स्पेसिफिक लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी के स्पेक्ट्रम में हैं।
शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में इनकी शानदार पहल को सरकार ने सराहा। मंजू सुब्रमण्यम को बतौर शिक्षिका राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कार से सम्मानित किया।
In today's session, we will have interaction on the topic inclusive and equitable education putting into action. That means समावेशी और सामूहिक शिक्षा का कार्यान्वयन. The session will have two segments. In the first one, we will be enlightened by the opinions, experiences, and observation of our guest, Mrs. Manju Bala Subramaniam ma'am. In this second session, we will have an interactive session where we are expecting queries and observations from our listener side. Education, as we all know, is the right and a very crucial opportunity. It is the key to better life of children and adolescents worldwide. On any given school, a large proportion of this population head towards their classes. But there are many students who are not going to school or are not accessible school available in their area. Why? If we find the answer, we may find that that's because either they are physically or mentally challenged, or they are not getting quality and real life experiences in their school. Inclusive education allows all the children in the same classroom, in the same school. It means real learning opportunity for the group who has traditionally been excluded, and not only children with disability, but speakers of minority language too. According to the data of UNICEF, about 50% of the children with disability are not in schools, compared to only 13% of the peers without disability. It is the most effective way to give all the children a fair chance to go to school and learn and develop their school. They need to thrive despite of their limitation, considering inclusive education. Equitable education gives justice to all the learners, considering either their learning opportunities, teachers, their school environment, their economic status, regarding of their economic status, their local situations, and any possible limitations. School and teachers play a very crucial role in development of a student's personality, her development. His or her ultimate personality is more or less determined by school. And our guest is also very much inspired by their teachers, which leads her to choose teaching as her profession. Here, I want to acknowledge the crucial role played by the faculty of our university, Central University of South Goa, who has always inspired and motivated us to bring out the best. Even this session is blessed by their presence and support. In today's session, we will try to get the best from the real life experience and observation of our guests. This will be a very source of motivation and enhance our understanding. This will also help us to realizing our own potential and will broaden our mind towards inclusiveness and equity. Thank you, ma'am, for being here Now I want to invite you to share your experiences. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, the faculty at Central University, South Bihar, and the young, vibrant team at Jan Man Vivechan for such a beautiful introduction of me. You've done lots of research to find newspaper articles of what I've said, to know a little bit of my background, that I come from a non-teaching family. It shows that you are very serious when you have gotten into research of getting someone to speak for you. I loved it. I'd like a copy of that video that you've made of mine, if you can later share with me.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes. And I am so honored and I feel so humbled that a young team of teacher trainees who are going to be the future of our country in terms of teaching, or on whom our children are going to depend and learn from, is so honest, is so dedicated, is so passionate that no child should be left behind, that every child has a right to equitable and free education. When you have that in your heart, when the child is the center of your processes, it's the center of your world. If a teacher thinks like that, the child is in very safe hands, and there is, the world is going to be theirs. And we are going to raise a very fine future generation. I've been asked to speak about my experiences, which I will do for a short while, but I'd like the interactive session to be longer, so that I am able to, specifically answer questions that people might have. I do not consider myself to be an expert. I'm a learner. I'm a learner with every single child of mine, and I'm a learner with every single teacher of mine. So for questions that I have answers, I will say I have answers. For which I do not, I will get back to you on email or on a social media platform, whichever. I've been given 5 questions, and the first question is dimensions of inclusive education. Now, the word inclusive, there is a very popular Google app called Ngram. And if you go and put inclusive education there, or inclusion there, and you look at it from 1800 till now, you will find that inclusion has been used only in the late 1990s to 2000 and onwards. That means we didn't even know that everybody needs to be included. Exclusion was, people in India, it was the caste system, so there was exclusion there. There was exclusion about gender. A man can do this and a woman can do this, and he or she cannot do the other person's role. There were, in the Western world, there was feudalism, and so there was one hierarchy of another kind. But nobody felt that we all perform better, that mankind performs better if everybody is a part of it. And the NEP 2020 is talking about it in a big way. It talks about inclusion of every kind. The socio-economically disadvantaged groups is one of their main focuses. Gender is a main focus. Even before, when I started this dialogue, I was asking Rahul and the other young men in the team, where are the girls? Because if I'm talking about inclusion, I want to see 50% participation of women. We've been left behind for very many years, and it is so important that we join the platform, which is being provided to us. Because when a woman steps into the platform, like Gandhi ji said, she changes a family. So women and gender, geographical, alienation of people, when people live in different parts of the world where accessibility is a problem, that is exclusion and disability. Biggest, it's one of the things people have never heard about disability. आप अंधे हो, आप सुन नहीं सकते हो, तो आप घर पे बैठो, या आप घर पे नहीं बैठोगे, कुछ ही काम आप कर सकते हो, पैकेजेस बनाना, labels लगवाना. And that's not true. You are as capable as someone else, and you deserve every opportunity to learning in life like anybody else. Now imagine if someone was poor, if someone was geographically distanced, and if someone was disabled. And if all these three qualities or whatever the disadvantages were there in a girl, worst case scenario. So if a girl is disabled, she is geographically distanced, she is physically disabled or has any kind of a disability, and she is poor. Nobody sees her, nobody hears her, she doesn't exist. And that's where we step in. We step in to say, no, we understand. And we understand, and we are going to be the voice. We are going to be the advocates of proper inclusion. Inclusion does not mean that you decide that one group of people can only do one thing and you put them there. Again, that's exclusion. And that is what we have tried to do at DPS Bangalore North, is to create a culture of inclusion. Inclusion cannot be one person's idea. It has to be the spirit, it has to be the soul of each one of us. Where does it start? It starts at home. But again, many homes are, in their warp of social construct. In India, if you were to bring a disabled person or you have a disabled person in the house, you're told it's karma. आपने पिछले जन्म में कुछ पाप किए होंगे इसलिए आपके घर में बच्चा ऐसा पैदा हुआ. Now that is no logic. That's no logic at all, right? अब बच्चा है, अब इसको हम आगे क्या कर सकते हैं? हम how can we give this child an opportunity to live life equally with every other child, because that is her or his right. You cannot take it away. आप उस बच्चे को एक कमरे में, एक बेडरूम में बंद नहीं रख सकते. That child, like any other child, requires other children. He or she needs intellectual stimulation. He or she needs social gatherings, needs participation, needs everything. So that's one point. And it is ironical that I come from an armed forces background. My father was an Air Force officer. I traveled across. My schooling was in 7 schools. But मैंने अपने लाइफ में किसी disabled को क्लास में नहीं देखा. India is the world's second largest population, right? I had not seen people anywhere. कभी देखा था a group of blind people going somewhere, or asking for alms. But when I went to the United States to do my Fulbright, I saw the disabled everywhere. I saw them in the classroom. I saw them at the university. They were in jobs. They were at the marketplace, and they did not need anybody's help. They had assistive devices to help them. They were independent. They had vehicles. The country was accessible. Classrooms were accessible, school buildings, cafeteria, hospitals, their accommodation. The disabled were not living with their parents. After a certain age, they were living independent lives, which meant that they had accommodation that was accessible. They had, ramps, they had wheelchair access, their toilets were, modified to their needs. And so that was an opener for me. And they were doing everything. And this is an example that I share with in every forum that I speak with, that there is this university in the United States called Gallaudet. It is the University for Deaf Education. It is the Makkah there. All people who are hearing impaired go there to learn, and every kind of profession is taught. There's a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD. And there is also a school where the children go. And there are people who can hear also as faculty and students, and there are a vast majority are those who are hearing impaired. When I went to Gallaudet, I experienced disability for the first time. I experienced disability in myself because they all use sign language, American Sign Language, and I did not know it. I needed a translator. I just could not make head or tail of what they were saying. And then I realized what it is to be excluded. If I did not have a translator, I would have not known the communication. Then when I was sitting with the students at the cafeteria and talking to them, and I said, how do you do this and how do you do that? And they said, ma'am, it's like inviting someone to a party and not allowing them to dance. Right? That is exclusion. Exclusion is, you call us to a conference for the, and you say it's an inclusive conference, and you do not have a sign language interpreter for us. What is the point? And this I experienced this year again when I did a symposium for 3 days at DPS Bangalore North. Initially, we thought that we will have a sign language interpreter only for the person who was hearing impaired. And then I realized, no, if it's an inclusive summit, it should be all 3 days. And that's where understanding happens. Imagine learning. When I asked the young people what they thought of deafness, and they said, we don't consider ourselves to be disabled at all. We consider ourselves to be a linguistic minority. We speak a language that you do not understand. And I think that is the essence of disability. Disability is a spectrum. In our lives, all of us, when you are newborn, you're disabled. When you're dependent on others, when you're old, you are disabled. I wear contact lenses, right? I can't see without my lenses. So it's a spectrum. How much or how less or how more? It's not about the society becoming totally independent, everybody becoming. It is about interdependence. It is understanding that each one of us has a potential, and that potential needs to be nurtured right at the beginning, and that's where school teachers come in. You come in because you have a vision. You are unbiased. For you, every child is special. Sometimes parents give up on children, but it is the teacher who finds the spark. It is the teacher who says, this child of mine has this potential and I'm going to nurture that. And so your role as teachers becomes invaluable. My second topic was on inclusion, equitable and just, and the ICT. I just want to share a presentation of my school. I will run through it quickly, just stopping at some points. For you to see where we are and what we are doing. A lot of it was already said. This is one of my favorite quotes. Please believe that it takes a village to raise a child. It is not one teacher, but the entire community, the parents, the school, the community, everybody has a role to play in it. And only a child who gets the best affection, the support, is going to be, a wholesome person. This is, if you run a school and you are a part of a school, you need to have a very strong special ed and counseling team. The report in India says that for every 500 you need a child, a special educator. But I think that's also too high. It should be, I think 50 or 500 is some number, but we need more special educators. But they are hard to come by. So what do? You train yourself. You bring in the trainer model. Every teacher in the school must have, and you people are lucky that you are in an integrated program, where in the second year you have, a complete module on inclusion and special ed, which we did not. I did not have, my teachers before us did not have, but they had one quality. They had two qualities: unconditional love for their children and empathy. हमको पता ही नहीं था कि SLD क्या होता है, dyslexia क्या होता है, dysgraphia क्या होता है. But there were teachers who knew कि ये बच्चा लिख नहीं सकता, इसको कैसे पढ़ाएं. Sand पे लिखवाना. I remember when I am 50 years old. When I was in kindergarten, I remember my teacher teaching some children to write on sand. While for that child, that was the only way to learn. For all of us, it was fun. We all loved playing with sand. And so the teacher who is engaged in her children knows that every child is different, has an ability, and I need to tap or nurture that in different ways. So this is our team. We have a huge group. What is specifically that I would like you all to see is we have a teacher who teaches Braille. This is not to children who are blind, but for children who can see, we teach that as a third language. We teach Indian Sign Language as a third language. It's an optional thing, and it goes from 3rd to 10th. Any child can opt for it, and after in 9th and 10th, because we don't have a third language, we offer it as a hobby class. The whole intention is whenever we decide that we have more children coming in who are deaf or blind, we have children who can speak their language, who can help them, and they can have friends. We also have employment of staff, teachers and non-teaching who are differently abled. And so that is what the slide talks about. Um, this is our vision, and like I was introduced, we have 1 in about 10 children who is special needs. So other than SLDs, we have children with hearing impairment who have cochlear implants. We have people with vision impairment. We have children who are wheelchair bound. We have children with cancer, children with epilepsy, children we have behavioral and emotional disorders, autism, Asperger's on one side, SLD, PDD, all of them. The only condition we've had is, every child is welcome. And we've been very lucky to have a management that supports us and a campus that is large, that we've never had to deny any child a space in our school. I was asked to elaborate on the next question. I'll come back to that. This is older slide, so it shows 367, but now that number has gone up to 600. So you can see the spectrum of children with special needs whom we have on the campus. Every CBSE school should be inclusive because the board has given so many accommodations and exemptions that every child can be assisted to, do better. This is something about the class. This is one of my favorite slides. Exclusion on your extreme left. So you have some people in the center and all the others around. Then you have segregation where you put the people with special needs on one side and keep the others on the other side. And then you have integration. You say we are integrated. But again, in the bigger circle, they are a separate small circle. That means they come to a regular school, but they're always in the resource center. Now that's not inclusion. That is integration, but they're not interacting with others. The last one is inclusion, where you cannot make out. When you go to an inclusive classroom, you will not know who is the child with special needs amongst your students. And this is the beauty. One of our mentors for the inclusion program has been Spastic Society of Karnataka, and Mrs. Rukmini Krishnaswamy, who's the director, often comes into our classrooms to observe and make notes. And she's always told me that, your teachers have a heart, because I cannot make out unless told who are the children with special needs in your class. And I think that is the beauty of it. Okay. This is also an all-time favorite of mine. I like you all to take a minute to see this. I'm sure all of you have seen it many times. And I want someone to explain this slide for me. Anybody? Please.
Hello, ma'am. Like inequality, there is equal distribution, and inequality, there is fair distribution.
Say that again, beta.
Inequality, there is equal distribution of resources,
Right.
irrespective of the needs, and inequality, it is the fair distribution. What an individual needs, give only them.
Yes,
ma'am.
so
And reality, as
ultimately,
we are seeing in our society.
exactly. So in equity, you see that every child is taken special care of, and so everybody has access to whatever is being done. Can someone explain between the 4 slides what is different in the 4th slide?
We request participants to enroll in the discussion and explain it, please. Anyone?
There are no right and wrong answers, bete. So you can just go ahead and say, what is it? It's a visual. So tell me what has happened in the 4th one that we are talking about.
Good morning, ma'am. This is Divya
Good
Sinha.
morning.
Ma'am, the only difference I see is the removal of obstacle.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
only
And that is the
I
biggest
see,
thing.
but what it is trying to show, that only I'm
So
figuring
this,
out. Figuring
yeah,
out.
anybody else would like, Divya said, the obstacle has been removed, right? And this becomes the basis of inclusive education, barrier free, equitable, and just. Inclusion is all about that. And that is freedom. That is liberation. That is when you remove barriers. When you remove barriers and make everything accessible, life changes. And that is liberation. Till then, it is still assistive. But here, you removed. That wall was a barrier for everybody, right? And that is where the concept of universal design comes in. When you build infrastructure, whether it is for a home, whether it is for a school, whether it's for a university, or whether it's for a workplace, if your building infrastructure is universal design, it will enable everybody. So if you have ramps and elevators, everybody makes use of it. It's not only the wheelchair bound person, right? When you have railings along the wall, everybody makes use of it. There might be someone who just wants to hold it and walk. There might be someone who has a leg pain. There is someone, who's has an issue, has a physical disability that cannot walk. Perfect. If you have a washroom that is accessible for a wheelchair, fantastic. And how did we learn it? We didn't learn, nobody taught us. We learned it from our child, from one of our children. One of our children, Karanveer Anand, who went on to become the head boy of our school, was our teacher in inclusion. He had a specific disability, a special rare disease known as Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. From a child who was playing cricket on the field, Karan slowly started losing his muscle tone, which meant that he could not climb stairs. So we always gave him a classroom in the ground floor, like all schools. He went from primary to middle school and all other sections went up, his section remained down. And then one day he came and told me, ma'am, what is the logic behind this? All other classes are going up, आपने हमको क्यों नीचे रखा है? और मुझे ही नहीं, मेरे 40 friends को भी साथ रखा है अपने साथ नीचे. We want to be with all students in 7th standard, not with children in primary class. And I said, yeah, I never thought about it that way. So we got a ramp. We got a ramp built so that he could have access. Everybody started using the ramp. And then the newer buildings, we built ramps because it was so easy to move stuff in the school, whether it was books, whether it was food, whatever the office wanted to send to the buildings, we use the ramps. A lot of teachers who had knee pain started using ramps. In buildings where we could not build the ramp because of existing infrastructure, we put in elevators. Karan came to a stage when he needed a wheelchair, but he said, I'm not ready to sit on a wheelchair. I need railings along the wall. He came and asked for it, and we put the railings, and he started walking to the washroom on his own. When he went to the washroom and he could use the normal, it was fine. When he started sitting on the wheelchair, he wanted a washroom that suited him. He said, ma'am, I don't want to leave school just because you can't provide me a toilet that is accessible to my wheelchair. Please get one. हमने उसके लिए ही नहीं, हर फ्लोर पे बनवाया. We didn't have, other than Karan, we didn't have anybody on a wheelchair. But we realized just having it made sense. Some of the teachers used it better. When he came to 10th, and he was a CGPA 10 in the CBSE board exam, he did very well. When he came to 11th, he said, I want to do science. First reaction from everyone, including his parents, was, science kaise karoge, practicals kaise karoge? He said, I can do everything. He said, just give me a table that can accommodate my wheelchair. So whether it was in the physics lab or chemistry lab, there was a table from which he could sit and perform his experiments. He went on to get a 94.8%. He is doing science at Ramaya College on a scholarship, and he still is my teacher. And when I taught genetics in 12th standard, he was my co-teacher. He taught genetics with his disease as the center part. We started with genetics with his disease and went on to the future of genetics with that. So nobody is perfect. Nobody knows everything, but you learn. But Do you have the year in you to listen to it and say, I can make accommodations for you? Or do you say कि बेटे यहाँ तो हो नहीं सकता, आप दूसरे स्कूल चले जाओ और स्पेशल स्कूल चले जाओ, वहां आपको ये सारी सहूलियतें मिलेंगी, वहां चले जाओ. Now that is the difference, and the difference is what is in that last slide. Removal of barriers, very important for equitable and just education. So these are some of the resources. All of you know about IEPs, so I'm not talking about it, but the NEP 2020 is also talking about competency based education, where there are personalized curriculum planning that is being talked about. That is at a step before the IEP, and the IEP is very specific because a whole team sits to work on the IEP. Should you want any clarification on the IEP, I will come back in the question and answer session. This is the inclusive setup that we have. So please continue to be doing SWOT analysis of your organizations. See how it is inclusive. When Karan left the school, he went as the head boy of the school. And he did not come on sympathy. He came on his merit because of his scores and his abilities. And the other children who are contesting, and this is where I'm talking about empathy that children have, they have it in them inborn. When he stood for the post of the head boy, the other two contenders stepped down. They said, we are making history. DPS Bangalore North is going to be the first school where a wheelchair bound person is going to be head boy. And we want to be a part of that creation of history. We will support Karan in all his activities, but we will not contest. And I think even when I'm talking about this, I have goosebumps. When they took the oath, the children did not stand. They knelt down to the height of Karan so that they could all take the pledge at the same level. They made sure that a ramp was constructed on the stage so that he could be wheeled in and wheeled out. If you have a culture, and I'm coming back to that, everybody thinks inclusion and everybody participates in making inclusion happen. This is again UDL, I've spoken about it. One of the biggest things that we have in India as an advantage is the National Institute of Open Schooling. It is such a brilliant board for inclusion. So my intent is wherever you become teachers in schools, please get your principals to open an NIOS stream. Make sure that children who have been marginalized are mainstreamed. Exemptions and accommodations, all of you are aware, so we'll not spend time on that. I said employ people. So these are my staff. We have teachers who are differently able. And when children see people with special needs around them, they are as capable as anybody else. This is our music teacher. If you believe in inclusion, you need to be advocates of it. You need to be talking about it, spreading awareness, doing everything right to promote inclusion. So every single teacher, every single student from kindergarten to 12th in our school can sign the national anthem. So while we have a group of people singing, we always have a group signing the sign language, which is one of our, we believe that that's the way to go. We keep bringing in people who work in the field of inclusion, and we talk about it to our students every now and then. We have people who are differently able, who've been very successful in life, come and talk to students and, work with them. We participate in a lot of fundraisers and activities, to ensure that the funds we raise go to organizations that we can believe are doing. We are constantly training ourselves through Bharati Vidya Bhavan and other organizations. More than 80 teachers in the school are trained now in special needs and inclusion. We run this symposium every year. We've been doing it for the last 3 years. This year it was a virtual conference, 3-day conference. We'd love to invite you all next year for that. A whole, from birth to employment and after. We look at the entire spectrum, and we have some amazing speakers coming in to speak. This is our class. So you can see that, there are children with different needs sitting in rest, and how accommodations have been made for them. We don't dilute the curriculum. The curriculum remains the same because they have to compete with everybody else. But in this case, a font size, the same textbook with a larger font size workbook has been given to the child. Assistive technology devices are allowed. So here you're seeing a visually impaired girl using a tablet, which allows her to get a complete picture of the blackboard, and she doesn't have to strain. When you become inclusive, open your doors to the community. One cannot be an expert at everything. There are people in society who are experts. There are assistive technology experts, there are doctors, there are psychologists, there are psychiatrists, there are NGOs, there are social responsibility organizations who are working. Bring in the best. Allow for this, especially this case is a case where Narayana Netralaya, which is one of the leading eye hospitals in Bangalore, has developed a tool, and they use this tool with a number of our children. Today it has become a product accessed by many children across the country. Very economically viable and extremely suitable for the classroom. Again, the way children work together. If our school is inclusive, the credit goes to my students. The credit goes to my teachers for being sensitive and for going extra. We as a school do not charge one extra paisa from a child with special needs. The child is just, that's the basis of inclusion. You say I'm an inclusive school and you charge the parent a bomb. What is the point? That parent is already struggling. Where will he or she get the funds? The second, our teachers who teach special needs children do not take a higher salary. They believe, because that belief is every child is mine. And every child is together, I'm a co-learner with the child. And children never go and complain. We have children with autism in kindergarten. Children spit on one another. They tear each other's clothes. They throw away each other's tiffin boxes. But no child has ever gone home and complained because they feel she or he is my friend and my friend is different. And that's it. And when you have a culture like that, parents don't come and ask you. A lot of principals tell me, parents in our school do not want inclusion. It is your duty to explain to them, and this is some of the best, most expensive schools say this. It is our duty to explain that every child is special, and if you are not happy with the setup, then this is not your school. Please find yourself another school, but I am not going to take a child off because he or she is special needs. This is primary. Again, you can see we have something called extended curricular support. The fun with which children work. We also have experiential activities for able-bodied children to understand what it is to be disabled. It is so difficult for you to spend a day on a wheelchair navigating yourself around. It is so difficult for you to be, using a cane and walk around the school. But we do this every year, twice a year, for almost all children, so that they understand what it is to be. You're seeing a group of children playing chess on a braille board, and a girl trying to see this. This is sign language happening in the classes, and the national anthem in sign. Occupational therapy. Again, when you have an inclusive school, you must understand that a parent with a child with special needs is running from morning to evening. They come to the school in the morning. As soon as the class is over, the child has to be taken to a therapist, from the therapist to somebody else. And finally, when the child comes home, the child has to sit and do the homework that is assigned by the school. We felt that the school should be a place where everything happens. You provide all the resources in the school. After school, let the child go back and play with other children. And this is exactly what we have done here. We whether it is speech language therapy, whether it is OT therapy, we give all of that in school. Parents pay extra for that because they would have anyway paid outside. But at 3 o'clock when the child goes home to be with other children in his or her colony, to play and to have time to do things that all children need to do. And these are the small things that schools can do. But just give me a moment. I'll take a call and come back to you in a moment. Akhib, I'll call you back in a moment. Okay, I'm in a seminar. So this is it. Schools, I spoke about accessibility features. You can see how some of it we've built it on the realization that this part was not there, and it doesn't cost money. Another thing about inclusion, and this is a myth, that it's very expensive. अगर हमको अपने स्पेस को इंक्लूसिव बनाना है, एक्सेसिबल बनाना है, तो बहुत महंगा है. बिल्कुल नहीं है. दिल होनी चाहिए, सोच होनी चाहिए, and that's it, right? You can see that, you know, how things have been accommodated in the classroom, and this is done by students. It was not done by us. You can see the stage, the ramp. You can see outside my board, it was given to me as a birthday gift by my students. They said that our principal believes in inclusion, so let's give her a nameplate where her name is also in Braille. And I think that has been the most beautiful gift in my life. That my children understand that this is what DPS Bangalore North stands for. Barrier-free labs, advocacy, street plays, Nukkad Natak plays. My NCC is a very strong proponent of this. They go out into the city, they go into rural parts of Bangalore, trying to build awareness about inclusion and special needs. Like I said, we raise funds for causes that we know, so contextual. So whether it is autism, whether it is Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, cancer, over say 60 days, over a period of 2 years, we have raised about 2 crores. We were the first country in the world, first school in the world to be crowdfunding as a team, not as an individual, but as a team, teachers and students together to raise funds for a cause. And for that, we were, recognized by Forbes India. And after that, a group of almost about 100 schools in India are doing crowdfunding for causes. We use assistive technology, we use coding to find solutions that are equitable. That's a constant effort that we are making. We participate in events, teachers and students. Wherever there is an inclusive summit, we are a part of it. This is a cycling expedition by an organization called Adventures Beyond Barriers, run by a visually impaired person called Divyanshu Ganatra, who's India's first blind pilot. And they are cycling on the Leh Khardungla Pass, and the requirement be on the team is one able-bodied person with one disabled person. And the captain of the team was my sports teacher, whom you can see in the picture. All of this helps develop a mindset of inclusion. I've spoken about Karanveer, so should you want this presentation, I will share it with you. A lot of efforts that we are doing, and I think that's where the presentation ends. If you have any questions on that, I'll take it up. My journey as a teacher principal, I think all of you know, I've been teaching now for the last 32 years. I came into teaching as soon as I finished my degree, and my parents were very proud to send me off to be a teacher. I come from a family of engineers and doctors, but I wanted to be a teacher, and they supported me in that. And that's where it has been. I think the reason I'm a teacher is I was very inspired by my teachers, and I love my students unconditionally. I do not compare children. I think everybody is special, everybody is different, and every child has the ability to do something phenomenal. And I've seen my work, my experience in 30 years has said that when you believe in a child, there are only 2 people who need to believe in the child unconditionally. One is the mother, the second is the teacher. If the child feels that one of them doesn't believe, it's heartbreak. But if both of them don't believe, then the child has lost the battle even before it's begun. So please keep in mind that you always and always believe in your children, because there is quality in them that's going to make them do something. I teach biology, and again, because you're teacher trainers, please understand that at administrative level also keep your connect with teaching. If you lose connect with teaching and the real classroom, you become an idealist person. You have no contact with reality. And if you're not realistic in your approach, then you are a loner. They always say leadership is a lonely position, and I believe it's not true. My room is always full of students and teachers. Why should you be alone? That's a choice you're making. You can be included with everybody else if you are participatory. If you are role modeling everything, if you as a principal continue to teach, if you as a principal continue to do all the activities that teachers do, your teachers will do much more than you. So be engaged, and that's the journey. In case you have any questions, I will take that up later. Experimentation to bring change, very important. You have to bring change. You need to have a vision. You need to have a futuristic mindset. You need to have a progressive, unbiased, just mindset. As principal, as a teacher, you cannot have differences. You cannot have biases. Even if you've grown with biases, you need to read. You need to read extensively. You need to travel. You need to share experiences with others and open up your mindset and say, I'm available for dialogue on extreme ends, but I will have a scientific temper. I will have a mind that is critical, that is analytical, and does not go based on what someone had told me. I'm investigative in nature. I allow for openness. I allow for criticism. If you have an ego, and that's what is with teachers, you think you know everything. But today with the internet, you only know that much. The child knows as much as you, probably more, because has more time to explore. So it's better for us as teachers to be co-learners, lifelong learners in the journey of learning. My message to teachers is take pride. Take pride in your job. Very often I hear people saying, I'm only a teacher. You should just say, I'm a teacher. I bring change. Everybody is because of me. Right? It's so important to take pride in what you do. Because when you take pride, it shows in your eyes, it shows in your language, it shows in the way you stand. And then people will turn around and look at you. Right? Have unconditional love for your children. If you don't love children, this is not the job for you. And it really gladdens my heart to see a team of young people who are here because they want to be teachers, not because life did not give them any other chance. Be a lifelong learner. Learn from every instant. Learn from every experience. The minute we shut our doors to learning, we've ended our career as teachers. Teachers need to be lifelong learners. They need to be participants on this beautiful, amazing journey that no other profession gives. Thank you. The moderator can start with the questions.
हमारे साथ जुड़ी आदरणीय वक्ता, हमारे यूनिवर्सिटी के सभी प्रोफेसर्स और सभी श्रोतागणों को मेरा नमस्कार। जनमन विवेचन का मोटो ही है संवाद। संवाद के लिए मंच खोला गया है, इसलिए मैं हमारे सभी लिसनर्स जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगी कि वो आकर के अपने एक्सपीरियंस या अपने विचार साझा करें, या कोई प्रश्न हो तो मैम से पूछें। फील फ्री टू आस्क योर क्वेश्चन एंड शेयर योर थॉट्स एंड quench your thirst of knowledge. Ma'am, as you narrated the story of Karan the boy, I just felt it so beautiful. It's so beautiful that a student can question his teacher, and it is even more beautiful that the teacher not only listens to it and takes action about it. I'm so glad that you shared this story. Moving on, there is a question from the listener Priya Rani. I request the host to unmute her. Hello, Priya Rani. Are you there?
Yes, yes. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, bete.
Ma'am, my question is, kindly explain experiential learning as you shared in the PPT presentation, and
Sure.
how does it helps in inclusion?
Okay. Okay. The word experiential itself says that learning has to be experienced, right? It is not what is given in the textbook or what the teacher is saying. जो हम कहते थे कि टीचर ने जो कहा वो वेद वाक्य, वो अभी नहीं. इट इज नाउ कि बच्चा उसको करके देखे, उसको महसूस करे, उसको फील करे, एंड दैट इज एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग. सो experiential learning in layman's terms is learning by doing. So you can learn something by assembling. You can use, you can make models, you can draw, you can touch. You are using your senses to experience and internalize your learning. There are many different ways. In science, you have, practicals, you have model making, you have graphic organizers, you listen to music, you listen, you perform. So when you're doing, say you're teaching organs, and I will, my examples will be from science because I'm a science teacher. So when you are teaching science and you want to do an organ, and if the organ, a child role plays that organ, he or she is experiencing all that the organ does rather than just reading from the textbook. And that is exactly what the child is seeing. Now, if I'm teaching physics and I am teaching center of gravity, I would rather take my child to the playground and ask the child to, run, do a track event. And while they're doing a track event, as they're running around the bend, they will bend, right? And why do they bend? What would happen if they did not bend? If they're cycling and they didn't bend, क्या होता? गिर जाते. So these are methods of experiential learning, and like it is not only for special children, but special children, experiential learning is a way of learning for everybody. Someone might use an auditory sense, someone might use a visual sense, someone might be kinesthetic depending on their learning style. But experiential learning to do, is what makes learning more concrete. It is for all. So it's a part of the universal design thing. But when you are talking about, say, a child who is visually impaired in primary class, and you're teaching different types of cloth, right? आप दिखा रहे हैं wool, दिखा रहे हैं satin, दिखा रहे हैं velvet, दिखा रहे हैं खादी दिखा रहे हैं, वो बच्चा देख तो नहीं सकता. So how will you teach? You will say touch, feel the fabric, feel the touch, and the child makes an impression, and that's experiential. Does that answer my question, Priya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So just to add to Priya's question, like I said, there is universal design in infrastructure. There is also something known as universal design in curriculum. So when you plan a lesson, you cannot do all kinds of methods in one class. But if there is a child with a special needs in your classroom, then you will say that for this child, I will do this for this activity. So when in your mind, you are thinking of every child in the classroom, and you're making a curriculum that does, like I said earlier, you don't dilute it, but you start with an activity that everybody can do, even with the child with special needs can do. That child has a high, it has a feeling of high कि मैंने भी किया. नहीं तो क्या होता है कि सारे बच्चों ने कर लिया, मैंने नहीं किया, टीचर पीछे पड़ जाते, पेरेंट्स पीछे पड़ जाते. Start with an activity that everybody can do, raise the self-esteem of children, then buddy children, put them into peer-to-peer learning, put an exceptionally able child with a struggling child. Look at that magic. They learn better from one another than they learn from teachers. Go stepwise. Understand your children. Understand their needs, and you will find solutions.
We have another question from Himanshu Singh. I request the host to unmute him.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Himanshu, very much.
Good morning, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much. ये आप आई
बेटा आपकी आवाज कट गई.
हेलो
हेलो.
यस मैम.
हाँ जी बेटा बोले आप.
Ma'am, I want to know about the assessment process conducted by your school, ma'am. As you said, there are individual differences. Then how you implement evaluation process?
Okay. Like I said, and this is something that all of us must keep in mind, that when you have an inclusive school, you cannot have a set of easy and a set of difficult question papers, one set for the children with special needs and one set for the, neurotypically normal children. Then that's not inclusion, right? But what you can do is allow for variations in the question paper. You can allow for variations from from the lowest level of Bloom's taxonomy to the highest level. That's point one. So our children do not have a special assessment, but but they certainly do have is they have access to a scribe in case they cannot write. So they will have a scribe, and my youngest person who goes as a scribe is in 3rd standard. Our formal exams start only from 4th standard. So the youngest child who goes to write for someone who cannot write is in 3rd standard, right? And they get certificates for that. And some of these children go on to being scribes for other children as well. Extended time. Again, this is something that we don't give only in 10th and 12th. Exemptions from subjects. So primary school mein assessment unka nahi hota to say whether they have a serious issue, because sometimes many of these SLDs can be outgrown with age. But after 6th standard, if they have from an RCI certified person that they have a language disability or a math disability, we start exemptions right there. We don't wait for CBSE 10th exam to happen. If it is diagnosed that the child has dysgraphia, it is going to be for life. It doesn't make sense for me to offer maths to that child, right? So those kind of accommodations are there. The NIOS regular curriculum is there. We have for children who get overwhelmed with space and people. If everybody is taking an exam and they have an anxiety, so they can go and take the exam from a quieter place. They can go to the library, they can go to the special ed room, they can go to the resource center, or they can go and sit in the garden where they think, they're okay. So those are the kinds of things that we do. In younger classes, when children are struggling, we go with their preferred way. If a particular child is good with orals, then we do most of the assessment with orals. In the meantime, we are building. And we have something known as extended curriculum support, where we keep, in the same classroom, there are a bunch of children who are struggling, 4 or 5, get an additional teacher. And this teacher's job is to address these gaps and to allow the child or one or a couple of these children to move out of this group into the mainstream class in, say, 6 months. With that additional support, we've seen that a lot of children do benefit. So these are the kinds of, we have larger font size for question papers. Like I said, but we don't make an easy question paper. If that is what, you're asking, we don't do that. And believe me, children do extremely well. Every year from DPS North, we have 1 or 2 children who top the country, who are in the top 100. And these are children with special needs.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, I have one more question. As you said, parents do not accept inclusion. Ma'am, as a teacher, how we can change their mindset?
Better for a parent, I'll talk about two kinds of parents. One is the parent who has a child with special needs. Now, this parent is going to be in denial for a long time. Some people accept if they're educated, if they are open-minded, if they do not have too much of a societal pressure, if they are, independent thinkers, they accept it faster and they get into the therapeutic aspect of it for their child faster. But every parent with a special needs child has to go through that cycle, which is the trauma cycle, and then come out and say, okay, now I understand that my child has a problem and I'm going to work on it. I'm going to ask for help from everybody and who can afford it. Now it is the other set of parents, right? Now, again, it's a very typical Indian mindset कि अगर मेरा बच्चा एक गूंगे बच्चे के साथ रहता है, एक डेफ बच्चे के साथ रहता है, तो वो उसी की तरह मैनरिज्म सीखता है. Now that's not true. A child who talks will continue to talk. Just because he signs doesn't mean he's going to stop talking to you. It's just another skill set that he has learned. In fact, my children who sign tell me it is such an effective way of communication in the classroom. We talk everything that we want to talk without the teacher knowing, क्योंकि हम तो आवाज ही नहीं करते. We are communicating with one another. It's a skill, right? So you need to, the thing is, but you can't drop it on a bombshell on them. So when a child comes to admission in your school, you have to, your prospectus, your brochure, your vision and mission, everything should talk inclusion. And when parents come to the school for the admission process, they should see inclusivity there. And when the principal or the headmistress talks about the school, they should say, this is the school, are you okay with this? So it starts with transparency. We've never had an issue, seriously. But if there are, and sometimes they do, because a child could have got hurt because of a child. Now children can get hurt from anybody. This happens in school, it happens in the playground, it happens in the classroom. धक्का मुक्की होती है, लड़ाई होती है, बच्चों को चोट लगती है. बट अगर एक स्पेशल नीड्स के बच्चे ने आपके बच्चे को मारा, आप ज्यादा शोर मचाते हो, क्यों? That child is just as much a child as any other child. And I think that is where whether it is the class teacher or the coordinator or the special educator, the vice principal, the headmistress should have a common vision. They should have a common policy. Their special education inclusion policy, where we say, this is our culture. We treat everybody. That child will also be spoken to. There will be restorative justice. Children will be spoken to. And whatever action has to be taken will also be taken. So that way you're treating the special needs child also same, teaching them social skills. And you're also telling the others that this is acceptance. 99.9% times people understand, right? And the annual day that I spoke about, which we did on inclusion, there were 3,000 parents sitting out there, and not one of them left the venue without tears in their eyes. Because every parent struggles with their child in some way or the other. So they all understand. It's about how much are you convinced about what you're doing to speak with conviction. And I think that is central to any teacher. You can do anything if you are convinced that what you're doing is right. Then you will stand for it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now over to you, Anamika.
I request all of you, once you ask your first question, then let others ask too. Once they get their chance, you can ask your second question, okay? And now getting over to Soni Kumari. Please unmute her.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Saloni.
Ma'am, it's Soni.
Soni, okay. Thank you, sorry.
Ma'am, no, ma'am, it's okay. Ma'am, you have really taken a very good initiative and very nice things in education. Like, it is rarely come to our ears that such a schools is being run in our country, where all the children are welcomed with special need children are also given the admission in same manner, and they all learn with the such students, normal students, which we call. But ma'am, I think it would be really hard for you to make such a school. So was there not any financial barriers for you, or I think you have must felt many barriers in establishing such schools or bringing such schools in front of our society. So ma'am, I want to know that what were the barriers you felt?
Okay. Soni, thank you for that question, because this is something that people avoid inclusion because they think it's an economically very expensive project. Like I said, we didn't start with inclusion. We did not know the ABC of it. The government had not mandated that inclusion should be, and this is 2004, right? So, like I said, we learned with every child. It is the role of a principal to see beyond what a regular teacher sees. And, it is her duty to convince her management. In my case, because I come from a private school, I don't come from a public school background, so I have to speak to my management, and if what I am saying has merit, the management will listen to me, right? So I was very, very lucky to have a management that was extremely supportive of my idea of inclusion, and they left no stone unturned. So I never had to worry. But again, we didn't do everything. We didn't have ramps suddenly coming up. We started with one floor, moved to the second floor, then from one building to another building, internet access or assistive technologies, one at a time. And from 2010 to 2020, we've come a long way. So, and like I said, again, involve the community. You will have a number of people in the community who will come and do things for you for free. Expertise will come in and say, "Aap ye kar rahe hain, let's do it. Let's do it together." They might come with a research mindset. They might have, something else, that they will benefit from, but people will come. So, luckily in my case, because the management was so supportive, we did not feel any financial barrier, but it is not undoable. Now the government has mandated accessibility in terms of infrastructure. So you cannot start a school if you don't have. So what are the next thing you need to do? You need teachers as resources. You need to train. And now with CBSE and NCERT coming up with such amazing manuals to teach an inclusive classroom, everything is there. So अगर आप train ना भी हो, तो supporting guidelines हैं, दीक्षा में workshops हैं, trainings हैं, which are free. So a lot of teachers can, adapt to it. But somewhere leadership has a key role. So when you go back as teachers in schools, please go to your principals and say कि हमारे स्कूल को inclusive होना ही है, तभी हम पढ़ाएंगे. हम इतने बढ़िया यूनिवर्सिटी से आ रहे हैं, अगर एक रेगुलर स्कूल है तो हम स्कूल में नहीं पढ़ाएंगे.
Thank you, ma'am. I really like what you have really put an exemplary example to this society, ma'am, that such an school can be established. So you have really done an inspirational things, ma'am. So
thank you, and I welcome all of you. If you're in Bangalore post-COVID, when things are safer to travel, you must come and see the school and the practices that are happening here.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we are time bound, so we may not be able to get to all of you. We request the host to unmute Rishu. After that,
Anamika, for those who have questions and I'm not able to answer them, you can ask Rahul to send their questions to me on WhatsApp. I will answer those questions and send it back.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can send your questions in the chat box. We'll refer it to ma'am. Unmute Rishu.
नमस्ते मैम. मैम, जैसा कि आपने बताया अभी कि स्टार्टिंग में जब आप स्टडी कर रही थी तो इंक्लूजन उतना नहीं था, फिर आप अगर दूसरे कंट्री में गई तो वहां पे काफी इंक्लूजन आपको दिखाई दिया, वर्क प्लेस में, मार्केट प्लेस में, इवन इन यूनिवर्सिटीज ऑल्सो. तो मैम, इनिशियल ईयर्स में जब आपने ये इनिशिएटिव लिया कि हमारे जो बैंगलोर नॉर्थ का स्कूल है उसको भी इंक्लूसिव बनाया जाए, तो टीचर्स का क्या फीडबैक रहा एक पहले इस ऐसे इन्वायरमेंट में पढ़ाते वक्त कि जो क्लासरूम था वो इंक्लूसिव था, तो उसमें टीचर्स का क्या फीडबैक रहा, कैसा उनको फील हुआ मैम, क्या उनके कोऑपरेशंस रहे होंगे आपके स्कूल में?
बेटा देखिए, मेरे लिए it was an easier work because I was not a new person entering the system and trying something out. I was a teacher from within the school system, from the same school, who became a principal. And even before we were known as an inclusive school, the practices in my classroom were very inclusive. And at DPS North, Bangalore North, we have a culture of, visiting one another's classes and observations. So a lot of teachers used to come into my classes and I would go into theirs and they would see the way I teach and with, my lesson plans, my my work, and that comes from my experience in the UK. So teachers would find that very interesting, that every child would be engaged to some extent or the other. So one is they saw what I was doing, and even before I became principal, I spearheaded the NIOS entry into the school. So, understanding, rather than asking children to leave and move to a state board, because that's the general trend ki CBSE मुश्किल है, आप state board चले जाइए. We brought in NIOS, and a lot of teachers saw how NIOS and its flexibility could help children. And when we had to go to NIOS, we had to go through Spastic Society to get the assessments of students done. So somewhere in the process, and we were a growing school in 2004, we were a very young school. The school was established in 2002. So in 2004, we were about 25 teachers working very closely with one another, and everybody understood it. And the NIOS happened, then other technology came in, assistive technology came in, our understanding, our training started. So I must give credit to my entire team. Every single teacher, we have 425. Each one of them, and not only my teaching staff, my admin staff, my security, my housekeeping, all of them are very inclusive in their thought, in their vision, in their applying of things. So I think principals need to talk about it, and they need to role model. You need to be role modeling every which way. You cannot deny a child with disability because his parents cannot afford it, and then you offer it to someone whose parent can afford a high fee or extra fee. No, it doesn't work like that. Principals need to be extremely good role models.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your experience.
Now I request the host to unmute Kritika Singh. She has a question.
Greetings of the day, ma'am. Am I audible? It's a pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. I truly feel elated. My question is, how do we begin with catering to the creativity or developing innovative thinking to the students with special needs? Also, I have a question regarding what are your key observations that you have made in the transforming education system, ma'am?
First, the question on creativity. I think every child, from the time they are born till teachers kill their creativity, every child is creative. There's nothing that says that a child with special needs is not creative. Every child is creative. And to, very, very large extent. When the teacher stops, when the teacher says, "Aapne elephant ko red kyun color किया है? Elephant का color red थोड़ी होता है. आपने sky को black क्यों किया है? और green क्यों किया है? भैया creativity है, मैं कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ, right? I want to see the sky green. What is wrong? I'm just painting a picture. Now that sniffling, or when a child asks a question कि मैम सी का कलर इतने अलग अलग कलर्स में क्यों होता है? डोंट आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन, इट्स नॉट इन द टेक्स्ट बुक. बच्चा तो पूछेगा ही, एंड क्योंकि उसने देखा है, टीचर ने नहीं देखा है कि आइलैंड के पास क्या कलर है, आइलैंड से दूर क्या कलर है, कहीं ग्रीन क्यों है, कहीं पर्पल क्यों है, कहीं बिल्कुल क्रिस्टल ब्लू क्यों, राइट? सो ऑल चिल्ड्रन आर क्रिएटिव बेटे, एंड इफ यू लुक एट 21st century skills, creativity is number 1 at the top. It's moved places. So it is our bounden duty, not only for I don't think special needs को हमको लाना चाहिए. We should enable creativity in children and keep it alive. It's there. We are not to kill it. And we need to use different tools and techniques to allow for creativity to blossom in children and for them to thrive with it. So that's question 1. Can you come back to your second question, Kritika?
Yes, ma'am. My second question was, what are the key observations that you have made in the transforming education system in this regard, especially?
Kritika, I'm a very optimistic person, right? I believe that the world is a better place, in spite of what we see in the newspapers, in spite of all the terrible news that we hear and see. I think the world is a better place, because education does make a difference. We are fighting lesser wars. There are less number of people dying of disease. There is lower infant mortality and maternal mortality. We are able to handle a crisis like the COVID. So the world is getting to be a better place. And like I said, words like inclusion that were hitherto unheard of are becoming a part of our lives. You and I are using it as if we've always used it, right? So the understanding of inclusion is there. Young people are trying to understand disability better. People who are disabled are willing to be more, open about their disability. Earlier, they would not. They would say कि कोई हमको समझता ही नहीं, तो हम क्यों बोले? हम जैसे हैं वैसे ठीक है. Today, a blind person says कि मुझे ये चाहिए. अपनी चीजें मुझ पे मत थोपो. Give me what I want. And I think that space for dialogue is the beginning of a journey. So that I think we've come a long way. We have a long way to go. The world can never become an ideal place. There will always be differences, and politicians will run elections based using differences amongst people. But I think the more we understand humankind and our desires and wants and happinesses and sorrows are very similar, we will try to make a better world. Does that answer your question, Kritika?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Thank you very much.
Now I request the host to unmute Choti Priya.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask, as we know that there are different assistive technologies and learning styles for the students who have physical disabilities. But what about the children with mental disabilities? Like, how can we educate them? Because I have a cousin too with his mind is not as developed as others.
Okay.
So what can we do for him?
In a mainstream school, the level of disability, whether it's intellectual or physical, I mean physical फिर भी आप एक space में रह सकते हो, but intellectual deficit अगर बहुत ज़्यादा है तो आप regular classroom में नहीं हो सकते, right?
Yes.
So there are special schools, and therefore special schools have also their own importance to play. So not everything, you cannot have 100% inclusion in all cases. Now it is important for the parents and the teachers who teach your cousin to see the degree of disability and ask the expert what can be done, right? And if there is something that, with a little assistance, and also the expectation of, of his performance in the classroom. एक parent with special needs अपने बच्चे को, या मैं अपने बच्चे को स्कूल क्यों भेजती हूँ? I am educated, my husband is educated, we can homeschool our child. Why am I sending my child to school? My biggest reason to send my child to school is to build social communication between children, to understand, to live in a group, to work with others peacefully, to care and to share. The same is the requirement for a child with special needs. So I think our expectation of that child, of what he is going to do or she is going to do academically, has also to be realistic. If that is clear, then one can work around other skills that need to be developed. But if our attempt at an inclusive school says कि हमको सिर्फ inclusive school बनाना है जहाँ academically वो 90% and above ले आए, that's not. Even our able-bodied children, all of them cannot get a 90%. So we need to understand what the child's potential is and to give that support. So you will have to go back to your cousin, to his family and his teachers, and find out where and how. Does that answer my question to you, Choti Priya?
Yes, ma'am, but I think मैम एक्चुअली बात ये है कि वो बच्चा अभी 12 या 14 साल का हो चुका है, बट उसको लाइक टेबल भी 5 तक का वो नहीं याद कर सकता. जनरल सोशल कम्युनिकेशन वगैरह की बात है तो वो सब कुछ समझता है, वो बड़ों जैसी बातें करता है. तो क्या हम लोग ऐसा भी सोच सकते हैं कि लाइक पढ़ाई उसके मैंने उसके काम वो ही नहीं सकते.
एक तो बेटा उसको आज की दुनिया में, टेक्नोलॉजी की दुनिया में टेबल सीखने की कोई जरूरत ही नहीं. राइट अगर उसको डिस्ग्राफिया है या मैथ रिलेटेड डिसेबिलिटी है तो उसको कैलकुलेटर लाइफ में यूज करने को मिलेगा. व्हाई शुड ही सिट एंड लर्न टेबल्स? जो उससे नहीं होगा उसको आप थोप के सिखाओगे. इन द बार्गेन यू आर नॉट फाइंडिंग आउट हिज स्ट्रेंथ. इट इज फॉर द टीचर इन द क्लासरूम टू से कि अगर ये टेबल्स नहीं कर सकता और क्या, हमको उसको फंक्शनल मैथ सिखाना है. ठीक है, इतना कि वो दुकान जाए, अपना सामान खरीद सके, पैसे वापस ले आए, दैट्स ऑल वी नीड. वो एट द एज ऑफ 5 नहीं सीखे, 10 पे भी सीख ले, इट्स ओके. वी नीड समवन हु कैन डू देयर लाइफ इवेंट्स कंफर्टेबली. उसको हाई लेवल मैथ्स करेंगे. So that we need to have those kind of clarifications and not worry about वो अपने क्लास के दूसरे बच्चों के साथ उतनी मैथ्स कर पा रहा है कि नहीं, क्या कर सकता है, कितने लेवल तक कर सकता है, क्या मैं असिस्टिव दे सकती हूँ टू मेक दैट प्रोसेस इजियर. अगर मैंने एक कैलकुलेटर दे दिया और वो मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर लेता है, उसके बाद एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लेता है, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग?
यस मैम, एक्चुअली
yes, and CBSE या ICSE ने कभी नहीं कहा कि आप बच्चों को ये सब हेल्प मत करो. ये हमारे माइंडसेट में है कि सबको 16 की टेबल 12 तक आनी चाहिए. किसने कहा? मुझे नहीं आती.
नो मैम, मतलब वो एग्जाम्पल था. लाइक हम किसी भी पढ़ाई की बात करें, वो रीडिंग भी नहीं कर सकता, उसको मैंने बहुत तरीके से पढ़ाने का ट्राई किया है. मैंने पर्सनली, बट वो नहीं कर सकता है.
जैसे कि हम लोग करते हैं ना, जैसे बैंगलोर में स्पैस्टिक सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया है, ये या और RCI रिहैबिलिटेशन काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के ट्रेंड एसेसर्स हैं. आप बच्चे को उनके पास लेके जाएं, वो एक रिपोर्ट देंगे, कहेंगे कि रीडिंग एबिलिटीज एट दिस ग्रेड लेवल और दैट ग्रेड लेवल, या दीज आर द स्ट्रैटेजीज, बिकॉज दे आर एक्सपर्ट्स. ठीक है, हम, यू एंड आई आर स्टिल कॉमन टीचर्स, वी डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द साइंस बिहाइंड द चाइल्ड स्ट्रगल, बट दे गिव अ रिपोर्ट, दे गिव रेमेडियल एक्शन, they give suggestive measures, they say what the parent should do, what the teacher should do. So I think a good report of his would be good, and if you can share that report with me, I can also have it looked in by my special educators and my team out here, and we can certainly see what we can do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. There's always hope. Never give up hope.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So now moving to our last question of the session, I request the host to unmute Sushil Kumar. Ask your question, Sushil.
हेलो, गुड मॉर्निंग मैम.
गुड मॉर्निंग सुशील.
मैम, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपने जो भी अपने स्कूल में अरेंजमेंट किया डिसेबल बच्चों के लिए या स्पेशल नीड बच्चों के लिए और फिर इंक्लूजन के लिए, तो क्या वो उतना ही आसान होगा एक ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के विद्यालय में उस सेटअप को, उस अरेंजमेंट को कर पाना? अगर नहीं है तो फिर उसके लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए, किस तरह से उस सेटअप को कर सकते?
बेटा, एक छोटी सी रैंप लगाना लकड़ी की कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. 4 ईंटें लगा के एक स्लोप करा देना बच्चों की सहायता से कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. ठीक है, बेसिकली दिल होना चाहिए कि हर बच्चे को मेरे स्कूल आना है, हर बच्चे को. एंड ये एक बेसिक डिजायर है. मैंने देखा है जो बच्चे सेरेब्रल पॉलिसी के साथ गांव में पढ़ते हैं, चूल्हा जो होता है ना, उनको सपोर्ट चाहिए क्योंकि उनकी बॉडी इतनी शेक करती है, उनकी कंट्रोल में नहीं होती. मैंने देखा है कि टीचर्स ने उनको चूल्हे के अंदर बिठाया. तो अगर आप इनोवेटिव हैं तो यू कैन फाइंड लो कॉस्ट सॉल्यूशंस टू योर वर्क, बट यू शुड, एक तो आपको उनसे पूछना है, अपने नजरिए से नहीं देखना है कि हाँ मुझे लगता है उसको ये चाहिए तो मैं ये दे देता हूँ. ऐसे नहीं चलता. आपको उस बच्चे से, अगर वो बच्चा आर्टिकुलेट कर पाता है तो उसकी नीड्स को समझना है. आप नहीं तो आपको उनके पेरेंट्स तक पहुंचना है, क्योंकि वो घर पे कुछ तो कर रहे होंगे जो काम कर रहा है. तो उनसे पूछें, इनपुट्स लें, लो कॉस्ट आइडियाज लें. कम्युनिटी हमारी इतनी बढ़िया है कि हम सबसे बढ़िया जुगाड़ लेके आते हैं, वो इंडिया की स्ट्रेंथ है. बट द थिंग इज यू नीड टू हैव अ माइंडसेट, यू नीड टू हैव अ माइंडसेट सेइंग क्या हम करें. 4 टीचर साथ बैठ के करें, कम्युनिटी में जो बड़े हैं उनसे पूछें, कारपेंटर से पूछें, प्लम्बर से पूछें, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है। एंड अगर एक सोच बनती है ना और लोगों को उसमें नेकियत दिखती है तो कम्युनिटी अपने आप से आ जाती है। एक डीपीएस की तरह की इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की कोई जरूरत नहीं, ये है कि हमारे पास है, हमारे मैनेजमेंट के पास है, तो ये हो सकता है। बट इट्स नॉट, मैं केवी की पढ़ी हूँ, मैंने 10th में स्कूलिंग की है, एंड वो काफी सारी चीजें जो मैं कह रही हूँ उस जमाने में भी होती थी और टीचर्स को कुछ नहीं पता था, बट वो अपने तरीके से बच्चों को अकोमोडेट कर सकते थे। तो आई थिंक वी नीड, अभी हो क्या रहा है कि जो स्पेशल एजुकेशन है ये पॉकेट्स में हो रहा है, लोग अपना अपना काम कर रहे हैं, अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, बट आपस में शेयर नहीं कर रहे। इंक्लूसिव स्कूल्स और स्पेशल एड स्कूल्स मिलते नहीं है, सब अपने अपने कम्युनिटीज में काम करते हैं। इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट, एंड अगेन आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल फॉर कोविड कि लोग ऑनलाइन, इतने सारे कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हुए जो कभी नहीं हुए। इससे पहले कभी मुझे एक सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी साउथ बिहार से या कहीं और से नहीं आए स्कूल्स के प्रिंसिपल से मैं बात करती रहती हूँ, बट आई हैव नेवर एड्रेस्ड अ ग्रुप ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स दिस वे हु फाउंड मी ऑन द इंटरनेट। And I think that is why technology is a great remover of barriers and a great leveler. So जाएं गूगल पे देखें, अरविंद गुप्ता जैसे लोगों से बात करें जो सिंपल सॉल्यूशंस निकालते हैं, एंड पूछें कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं, तो इट इज पॉसिबल।
थैंक यू।
Due to limitation of time, we are concluding this session. All of you who want to ask questions from ma'am, you can ask it in the chat box. The host will refer it to ma'am. Children who learn together, learn to live together. With this note, I invite our professor, Pragya ma'am, to share her thoughts and conclude this session. Ma'am.
Very good morning to all of you, and ma'am, very good morning to you. I'm very happy. Thank you, ma'am. I'm very happy to see you here, ma'am, because you are working as an exemplary school, and you are heading an institution which is actually inclusive. And first of all, I want to say that I am very happy to see my students, those who have taken this initiative, like Janman Vivechan, and the entire team of Janman Vivechan is doing well, and they are organizing such a very organized way, and they are trying to search out the people, those who are actually working on ground, and whatever we are teaching them theoretically, very theoretically we are teaching them. When I deal with them the psychology, I am the teacher here for educational psychology, and I am also taking this inclusive education also, although these students are in 6th semester, so when they will come into the 8th semester they will study this course, and I am dealing it since last 3 years. But problem is this, because when I was in B.Ed and M.Ed, that time this inclusive education was not very much you can say in syllabuses, and we were just listening the words, the integrated education or inclusive education, so the term were there, but it was not in our syllabus. And I was trained, a special course I have taken, that was a special education, but it was not very much practical. I just studied it theoretically. So it is very tough for me to deal with the paper which is inclusive education, and which is actually I have never experienced such a school, but I am a little bit fortunate because I am from Dehradun. My father was working there, and there is a National Institute for visually impaired. So I saw the people, those who are blind, and they can do well. They can cross the roads with the help of canes. They are having some braille time watch and all. So I had this idea and some experience of mine I have. So I was trying to bridge the gap when I was dealing with my students, and whatever you were discussing, that yes, this is a very new term for us in 1992 or 2000. It was a start, and you have started this your school in 2002 and 2004 in between. So you started it very early, because when I was in MEd in 2008, I was not able to even know that this term, that all the students can be taught together. This is a very big idea for us. And when I was in RI Ajmer, I was also there on contract basis as assistant professor. So this paper was given to me first time there, and when I come across, so I searched lots and lots of material. So I came to know about the IEPs and UDL. So I read many papers and some modules and other things, but I was always surprised at how the people or the teachers are practicing them. So I never got a realistic model of UDLs, although I have some idea of mine and I tried to teach my students. And when I came here, so neither IEP nor the UDL was in my syllabus, but I included it. Through this way, I will be able to give some practical input. And the problem is here that whatever I am teaching them, that is totally, I think it is theoretical, but when you were discussing all the points, that the equal opportunities and the other things that you were talking about, your big team and a huge team. So I always discuss this team when I deal with the IEPs, that we need this much of team to prepare a IEP. So definitely your institution is very good. So you are having all the team in your institution, so it will be easy for you. But the institution which is not having this much of good team, so how they will deal with this? This is the one question of my student which they ever pose to me. This thing. Second thing, yes, they.
Can I answer that question and saying, if you don't have the resources, how can you do it?
Yes.
So I think the NEP is also talking about it, is that, you know, we need to share resources.
Yes, right? Community participation. Yes, I was coming at this point.
Yeah, and if, you know, school, like in our school, my special educators and counselors are free to go and help any other school, right? They can go and train their teachers on IPs and all of that. So I think education so far was so tight. Mere best practices दूसरों को ना पता चल जाए.
Yes.
You know, that mindset has been taken away by the pandemic. You know, a lot more people are talking, people are knowing that कहाँ पे काम चल रहा है, किससे connect करें. I think that is one thing that you can look at and your students can. And my school is open, even if we are at two different parts of the country. I can share our IEPs, I can share our UDLs, I can share our lesson plans with you all. So you can use it as teaching material.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thanks for your support, which I really needed. Second thing that which I want to tell, I want to reflect only this thing, that yes, with this initiative of this team, that I came to know about those people. And definitely if you are working in this field, so you are knowing the other people, those who are also working in the in this area. And being a assistant professor, we are also having a research unit. So definitely we want to do some researches. So we need some labs, or we need some people, those who are indulged in inclusive institutions, and the students, those who are studying in inclusive schools. So what is the difference between those who are in special schools or those who are in inclusive schools? So what is the difference between their in their personality, in their self-concept, and their self-esteem, as you were discussing? And how we are dealing with the students. When one of my professor is there, when he asked to me that which subjects are you dealing, Pragya? So I said that, sir, I have the educational psychology and the inclusive education. He said that this is a fake subject. Sir, why you are saying this is a fake subject? He said that, yes, this is very idealistic. It is not practically possible. A student who is having the IQ which is 160 or 180, and the student who is having the IQ which is having 100 or lower than that, so how you can accommodate the both? So this was his question. So definitely somewhere we have the problem with the students, those who are intellectually deficient, but the students, those who are having this sensory disabilities, they can be managed well, but still we need some efforts to deal within classrooms. So and second thing, that I want to work with the special educators too, as you were also telling that what assistive technologies they are using, because like technology is enhancing day by day, and we are having the advanced technologies. So our students, they can be able to know about those assistive technologies, which they can use when they will be able when they will be a teacher and they will teach in some inclusive schools, or they will try it. Definitely I want that my every student will be a ambassador for a inclusive education or inclusive school whenever they will go, either in a state schools, state board schools, or maybe good schools like Goenka and maybe this like DPS. So they will be an ambassador for that, and definitely we will change the mindset of our youth. Definitely the India will change, and very soon we will be able to have the scenario like as you felt there in USA. So my idea is this कि मेरा स्टूडेंट जब भी यहाँ से निकल के जाए और उसके पास वो 2 क्रेडिट का कोर्स भले ही हो, which I am trying to make it 4 credit course. So what will be happen after that, that they will be having some in every aspect of the inclusive education, and whenever they will need it, the specialized people like the psychologist or the counselor or the therapist, they can refer and they can generate the resources, community resources. But the simple things, as you were showing that some like assistive technology, that the one laptops or palm top type of assistive technology your students were using. So these type of technology, they should know about them, that what technology can be helpful for those who are visually impaired, or for those who are having the speech problems, or those those who are having the other problems. And what is dyslexia and dysgraphia, ये सब तो हम deal करते ही हैं, बताते भी हैं. This is comparatively easier for me, but the main problem is this with our students, that they are not having any experiential learning, as the student was asking to you कि ma'am ऐसा होता कैसे है. So definitely you will help me in that way, that yes, we are having some
Certainly.
Yes, and this time we are going to change our course into the CBCS system, because अभी तक ये बच्चे जो पढ़ रहे हैं CBCS नहीं है. So I have this one demand is mine there, that there should be one excursion at least. It may be a special school or it may be an inclusive school. At least they should have some experiences, that how the students are learning, how they are working there, how they work together, what type of feelings they are having. They think this, as you were talking about the peer tutoring. So the student, when I will discuss with them that the peer tutoring is that in this way we can organize the peer tutoring and all, the student will ask, मैम कोई स्टूडेंट इंटरेस्ट लेगा कि वो किसी ऐसे बच्चे को पढ़ाए जो कि पढ़ने में जो पढ़ ही नहीं सकता, या जो धीरे स्लो लर्नर है. So I said yes, if you are having you are having some buddies of yours, those who are not very good in academics, but still you explain your content for helping them out. So this is the same thing. So there are many confusions of the students because they are not having this experiential learning. So yes, as you are working with the students, we are working with the teachers, and definitely I will make my course more comprehensive, more practical with your help and the people like you, those who are working in ground. And definitely our students, when they will go for the teaching practice, they will use UDLs and the IEPs, and they will practice them in real. So I am very happy, and this is a very nice interaction with you. And all the details which you were one by one you were opening and you were flipping the pages of inclusive education, and everything was refreshing my memory, because it is this course is in our even semester course. So this is our odd semester course nowadays. So I was thinking, yes, हाँ ये मैंने पढ़ाया था, ये मैंने पढ़ाया था. Now I am going in the right direction. So this whole lecture was very much gratifying for me, that yes, I am going in my right direction and I have to include this. So thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for the students, those who have been given this opportunity to me to reflect over this whole the lecture, and very interesting. Now everything was like a picture, just as we are visualizing everything. So very nice presentation, and thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for my students too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Over to you, Anamika.
Yes, Rahul will take over from now. Rahul.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your such beautiful reflection. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are audible, Rahul.
Okay, so beginning with the session, actually I started to note the important points, but what happened, I found that I think every point is so important that I just can't mention every point. So few of the points that I mentioned that in the beginning. Hello, can you please confirm, anyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay, there is either. Hello.
Yes, better we can hear you.
There is a network problem.
Actually, ma'am, I want to ask you one question also in between, that Rahul is facing some technical glitches. That the sign language which you are using nowadays in your school, is it the American Sign Language or the Indian Sign Language?
Indian Sign Language.
Indian Sign Language, okay. Yes. So is it any difference?
Globally, there is, because you have different connotations, like the way you show Indian and the way you show Bengali, the way you show a Tamilian, these are very specific to Indian Sign Language, right? But then the overall expression is quite similar. It's quite similar, but we go with the Indian context that is cross languages in India. So the Indian Sign Language can adapt itself to all the languages. People in India, anybody who signs in India can understand.
Okay, then the Indian Sign Language is also adapted in different languages, Indian languages.
No, it's not adapted, but you can use it for all languages in India. So, a Tamilian who uses sign and a UP person who uses sign can understand each other, which is such a big advantage, because if I speak in Hindi, the Tamilian will not understand.
Yeah, definitely.
But two people who sign can understand each other.
Because when I was
so it is so important for Pragya, you and me, to learn to sign.
Yeah, definitely. So yes, we can have a course also in our university. That we are having some courses like which the students have to do from the another departments. So we can also throw this course as a sign language also. So it will enhance their abilities, and definitely it will be good for them also. So
I think it's a great, because you're a university, and I will give the example of DU. Delhi University has a very active sign language program where people from different streams can come and take it. It adds to your, whether you become a teacher, whether you become a doctor, whether you become an engineer, or you become any profession. If you sign, you're getting clients from that community also.
Yeah.
So you see, it is such a big advantage, and because the interpreters for sign language are so few that can become a qualification for a profession, and they're
also a career. Yes,
as a career. They charge 3,000 to 5,000 rupees per hour.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So continuing to the last session, I am Pratham, and आभासी पटल पर थोड़े दिक्कत होने के कारण राहुल हमसे नहीं जुड़ पा रहे हैं. तो मैं यहाँ से कंटिन्यू करूँगा। सर्वप्रथम तो आप सभी को धन्यवाद, तमाम लर्नर्स और हमारे फैकल्टी मेंबर्स। ये एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल सीरीज का फाइनल सेशन था और इस सेशन में हम सभी आपसे जुड़ पाए, जनमन विवेचन आपसे जुड़ पाया और आप सभी तक अपने विजन को पहुंचा पाया, आप उससे कनेक्ट कर पाए। तो थैंक यू फॉर दिस। एंड देन मैं कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करता हूँ मंजू मैम को, जिन्होंने सेशन के शुरुआत से ही इसे बहुत ही लाइवली और फील फ्री रखा। वो हमसे काफ़ी पहले से जुड़ी, हमारे बारे में उन्होंने जाना, हम उनके बारे में जाने, और देन हम लोग थ्रू आउट द सेशन डायमेंशंस ऑफ इंक्लूसिविटी एंड इक्विटेबल एजुकेशन एंड इट्स प्रोस्पेक्ट हम लोगों ने ये भी जाना। और मैं पहले धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करूँगा शिवानी का, जो इंट्रोड्यूसर थी हमारे सेशन की, और अनामिका का। उन दोनों ने काफ़ी अच्छा रिसर्च किया और पर्सनलाइज्ड कंटेंट बनाया खुद के हिसाब से, जिसमें वो सहज हो, उन्होंने वैसे कंटेंट को तैयार किया। और उसके बाद अनामिका ने स्पेशली काफ़ी सारे क्वेश्चंस बनाए, लेकिन ये दर्शाता है कि जनमन विवेचन अपने विज़न में सक्सेसफुल हो रहा है, आप लोगों से जुड़ने के लिए तत्पर है और जुड़ भी रहा है। जिस प्रकार से लिसनर्स से तमाम क्वेश्चंस आ रहे थे और वो हर एक डायमेंशन से थे। मैं सभी को तो मेंशन नहीं कर पाऊंगा इतने छोटे से टाइम पे, पर मैं एक को मेंशन करता हूँ। जो क्वेश्चन सुशील ने आखिरी में पूछा था, एक्चुअली वो क्वेश्चन मैंने भी लिखा था कि पर्टिकुलरली इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट स्कूल हाउ वी कैन इम्प्लाई द इंटेंट ऑफ इंक्लूसिविटी, पर वो क्वेश्चन सुशील ने पूछा। तो यहाँ पे एज लिसनर मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं जनमन विवेचन हमें टॉपिक से रिलेटेड, करिकुलम से रिलेटेड, एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग के लिए, हमारे नॉलेज के खुद के कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए हमें जोड़ रहा है। तो इसके लिए मैं जनमन विवेचन के सारे फ्रंट लाइन पे जो टीम मेंबर हैं, जितने फैकल्टी इन्हें सपोर्ट कर रही हैं और हमें आगे के लर्निंग के लिए, वे थ्रू के लिए बता रही हैं, और जिनसे भी हम अप्रोच कर रहे हैं उनके सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस जो वो शेयर कर रहे हैं हमारे साथ, वो हमें जो लर्निंग प्रोवाइड करा रहे हैं, उन सभी को मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करता हूं। और अंततः हमारे साथ सेशन के शुरुआत में चंद्रप्रभा मैम जुड़ी थी, स्वाति मैम जुड़ी थी, और थ्रू आउट द सेशन प्रज्ञा मैम जुड़ी रही, और सेशन के अंत में एनवी सर हमारे साथ जुड़े समापन समय के दौरान। तो ये हमारा फर्स्ट सेशन है जो वीकडे में हुआ, एक बिजी स्केड्यूल में हुआ, फिर भी आप सभी ने समय निकाला और सेशन टाइम लिमिट से एक्सीड किया, फिर भी आपने इसे सक्सेसफुल बनाया। इसलिए मैं आप सभी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करता हूं। और जैसा कि राहुल कहता है, दिस इज द फाइनल गुड बाय फ्रॉम होस्ट। थैंक यू ऑल।
थैंक यू।